Hi, I'm Leiann King, and I'd like to welcome you to the AromaShare Club of Longevity. This is August 2014. It is our back to school month, and one of the things that kids and big kids like you and I love is a snack when we get back from school or work. And we are going to make kale chips. Now, these are so yummy, and my kids love them, and so does my husband. So here we go. I already pre-took a bunch of the kale off the ribs, but those of you who are not experienced, I want to show you how to do this. So this is how you buy your kale, or it grows in your garden like this. And you just want to pull this off, and the biggest you want your kale to be is about as big as your palm. So these are a little bit smaller, but that's okay. We don't want them really tiny though. But as you get towards the bottom, it's smaller. You can't do anything about that. But see, about that size, because it is going to shrink up and be about this big when it's done, okay? So you pull this off the ribs like this. And don't throw this away, because you can juice this in your juicer and it will make a very yummy, delicious drink for you. And you can put that right in your tangy tangerine, juice that and mix it right in there. It is good for you. So I'm just going to do a few of these so you can see how I do it. And see, some of these are small, so they're not going to be palm size, but that's okay. That is for those of you who like to pour the chip bag up like this and get all the crumbs at the bottom. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to get all this kale in here. So this was 2 large bunches of kale, and we have it in here, and we're just going to set this aside, because now what we're going to do is make our barbecue sauce. And we're going to make it in my high-powered blender. If you do not have a high-powered blender but just a regular blender, you're going to want to, like the recipe says, pre-chop up a lot of your ingredients a little bit smaller first, and it goes in a lot better. I think, okay, that's everything. I was thinking I put avocados in this, but I didn't. I tend to put avocados and onions in almost everything, so I was like, where's the avocado? But no avocado in this one this time. Okay, so one of the things I like to do is always put a little tiny bit of liquid in the bottom of the blender. And we don't want to do too much because we don't want this sauce to be runny, but it just helps everything blend up easier. So I'm putting maybe the equivalent to about 1/4 cup. And this is just the soak water from my sun-dried tomatoes. Now, I'm going to put in 1 cup of sun-dried tomatoes. And my blender will chop these up really good, so I did not have to pre-chop those. And then I'm going to put in 1 cup of regular tomatoes. And we're going to say that around 2, and I'm going to say 2 tomatoes, about this size, is a cup of chopped tomatoes. And then we want to put in a teaspoon of Bragg's liquid amino acids. I just love this. If you don't love it, then you don't have to put it in. But it really puts a good flavor. Or you can do an organic, low sodium soy sauce in there instead if you would like to. And then 1/2 cup of sweet yellow onion. Once again, it says chopped, but if you have a high power blender, you do not have to pre-chop it quite so much. And then our garlic, and it says a teaspoon, and I'm going to call these 2 cloves a teaspoon. And if you do not have a high power blender, you're going to want to peel these. Sorry. I was snitching on the almonds, and now I have an almond skin in the back of my throat. I'm going to show you, this is how I peel garlic if I'm not blending it. Just pounding it with that knife just makes these peels come off just super easy and quick. So there you go. We're going to call that a teaspoon of garlic minced. And then 5 whole dates. I was like, what happened to my dates? So 5 whole dates. And these were already pre-pitted, but I'm going to squeeze every single one of those, because nothing is more annoying than to hear your blender going crunch, 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 crunch. because you missed a seed, or they did. And let's see, 1 small red jalapeno minced. I forgot my jalapeno, but I'm substituting with red chili pepper flakes. So probably about a teaspoon. So just remember that. If you don't have all the ingredients, substitute. You know, just make sure you have the general idea. All right, now apple cider vinegar. So we got a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. That gives it that tangy barbecue-y flavor. And it is so good for you too. And then we have a 1/2 cup of soaked almonds. Now the almonds, some recipes maybe you've seen for kale chips, they call for soaked cashews. Those are really expensive. And I have a very large family, so I usually double and triple my recipes. And so I like to use almonds, because they are very good for you, but they are a lot less expensive. And you need that. It adds the creaminess so that it sticks to your kale. And make sure your kale is dry. My daughter made this for me the other day. I left and I said, everything's ready, my young teenage daughter, and all her sauce fell off her kale because she washed it, which yes, you should wash it, but you need to wash it way ahead of time, earlier in the day, and make sure it is completely dry or it just does not stick very well. So I'm putting in my almonds, and now I think I got everything in there. I'm not going to put my essential oils in yet. Is that loud enough for you? So now I have my kale all ready. Now you can use this barbecue sauce for any of your other dishes that you want barbecue sauce for. Marinating your meat or anything like that. Now, if I was going to use this, I need a spoon or something to scoop this out. I did not get that ready. Let's see. Alright, I'm back. So if you were going to use this for, you wanted a little bit runnier barbecue sauce that you're going to maybe baste on something or use like a substitute for steak sauce, then you're going to want to add a little bit more of your liquid from your tomatoes when you mix that in. But for kale chips, I like it nice and thick, because I want it to stick to my kale chips. And it's really important that you soak your almonds. I had these soaking since this morning, and it's around 5 o'clock. It says an hour, that's minimum. You can do it with an hour soaking, you can. Now, here's the part, yummy, that is sort of messy. So, and yes, it is best if you do this with your hands, because you want to mix this around and coat this really good. And you almost sort of like are massaging your kale, not a whole lot for kale chips, but if you were going to turn this, you could just turn this into a really yummy sort of salad. And I would just add some more vinegar and some more liquid to that sauce. And voila, you have like a French salad dressing. So I have this pretty well coated. And I have my dehydrator sheets. Now some of these come with like a Teflon-y, plasticky kind of thing here. But we just use parchment paper. And we want to use that for the first half of the dehydrating. And you can put these on pretty thick. You'll just have to leave space, like you have to go like sort of every other when you're sticking it in your dehydrator, because they are pretty fat. And I have my magic dehydrator here that I bet you guys wish that you had a magic dehydrator. Because in my magic dehydrator, I don't have this take 8 hours. But what you would do is you would dehydrate this for about 4 hours, and then you could turn them and dehydrate it some more. And if you want to, you could take your sheet off in the second half. But I'm going to put this in my magic dehydrator. And then we have to say the magic words. And so we go, AromaShare a la longevity. Boom! Ta-da! Look at how fast that happened. I bet you wish you had a longevity magic AromaShare dehydrator. And these are so delicious. You know what we need? We need smell-o-vision. And you know what I think I did? I think I forgot to put my essential oils in my mix. I am almost positive I did. So, if you do that, I'm going to give you a solution. So here I have all my stuff here. So, if you're like me and you forgot, you can take a little tiny bit of your liquid, put it in here, a tiny bit, like a tablespoon. My daughter is laughing at me on the other side of the camera because she's like, voila, abracadabra. So I put my rosemary oil in there because I forgot to stick it in there. And I'm just going to swirl this around here. And then I'm going to sprinkle it on my kale, pretend that all of the kale is in there. And I'm going to massage it in there really good again. Now this, for those of you who do not